Hello friends, I am back to continue our session on acids, bases and salts. Today will be our concluding session. Okay, in the earlier sessions we discussed about acids and bases. Now today we are going to discuss about salts. Now the word salt, now when you hear the word salt, what comes to your mind? Generally say sodium chloride or potassium chloride. Yes, these are the commonly found salts. So we can say that a salt is an ionic compound. Yes, a salt is an ionic compound because NaCl, KCl are all ionic in nature. So a salt is an ionic compound which yields a positively charged ion other than hydronium ion and a negatively charged ion other than hydroxyl ion. Okay, so that is one definition of a salt. That is, a salt is an ionic compound which in aqueous solution it dissociates to give a positively charged ion other than hydronium ion and a negatively charged ion other than hydroxyl ion. Okay. Or there is another definition which you are supposed to remember. This one is optional, but the other one is more important. A salt is a compound which is formed by the partial or complete replacement. Just understand the definition. A salt is a compound which is formed by the partial or complete replacement of the replaceable. Replaceable means ionizable hydrogen ions of an acid is by a basic radical, and this basic radical could either be a metallic ion or it could be an ammonium ion. Okay. So if you see the definition, it has two parts, that is partial and complete replacement. Now you have to understand what this partial and complete replacement means of a acid. Yes. So now if there has to be partial replacement, the acid has to have minimum 2 or more hydrogen ions, means it has to be a dibasic or a tribasic acid. Yes, in acids we have done the classification of acids based on basicity. If you don't remember, you just look up the notes. Okay. So if it is a dibasic acid, like say sulfuric acid, it is having 2 hydrogen ions. Now when only one of the hydrogen ions is getting replaced by the metal like maybe from sodium hydroxide, the sodium will replace the hydrogen. So then it is called as a partial replacement. Okay. And when both the hydrogens are getting replaced by the metal, it will be a complete replacement. Okay. So a salt is a compound which is formed by the partial or complete replacement of the replaceable, that is ionizable hydrogen ions of an acid by a basic radical, which could be either metallic ion or an ammonium ion. Okay, is it clear? The definition is very important. Now just we'll have a look here to explain this partial and complete replacement concept. Okay, now this first equation which is written here is related to that ionic compound. So a salt is an ionic compound in aqueous solution which will dissociate to give a positively charged ion other than hydronium ion. So Na1 plus is formed and a negatively charged ion other than hydroxyl ion. Okay, this is one definition. And the other definition which we discussed, a salt is a compound which is formed by the partial. Now see, this is H2SO, which is a dibasic acid. There are 2 hydrogen ions. Now you are using sodium hydroxide here in an insufficient quantity. So this NaOH is going to replace only one of the hydrogen. Yes, so it is forming NaHSO4, which is sodium bisulfate plus water. So this is called as a partial replacement. So partial replacement or complete replacement, the second equation, both the hydrogens are getting replaced by the sodium. So 2 NaOH, here you are taking NaOH in sufficient quantity or in excess, plus H2SO4 will give you Na2SO4 normal salt plus 2H2O. Okay, so this is a complete replacement, this is partial replacement. So a salt is a compound which is formed by partial or complete replacement of the replaceable hydrogen ions. These are the replaceable hydrogen ions of an acid by a basic radical. This is the basic radical, metallic ion or ammonium ion. Okay, is it clear? So the definition is very important. Now we'll have a look at the classification of salts. So salts are generally classified into acid salt, normal salt and a basic salt. Now first let us understand what is an acid salt. Now if you see here, I have labeled this as acid salt. So you can say that an acid salt is formed by the partial replacement. Yes, partial replacement because only one hydrogen is getting replaced. Partial replacement of the hydrogen ions of an acid by a basic radical, that is either metallic ion or ammonium ion. Okay. and so this sodium bisulfate becomes an acid salt, which is formed by partial replacement. Then how it is formed? When you are taking the alkali, this sodium hydroxide, if you remember, is an alkali, means a soluble base. You are taking sodium hydroxide in an insufficient quantity. When you use the soluble alkali in an insufficient quantity, that time you are getting an acid salt. Okay. Then if you see the formula of the acid salt, this is NaHSO4. So it is having one replaceable hydrogen ion in it. So an acid salt always contains replaceable hydrogen atoms in it. Okay. Now because it contains replaceable hydrogen atoms, it will show all the properties of an acid. Okay, is it clear? So these are the properties of an acid salt. First is the definition. That is, an acid salt is formed by the partial replacement of the replaceable hydrogen ions of an acid by a basic radical, that is metallic or ammonium ion. And second point, it is formed when the base is taken in an insufficient quantity, then it will show replaceable hydrogen atom in its molecule and will have all properties of an acid. Okay, clear? So examples of acid salts are written here: sodium bisulfate, sodium bicarbonate and sodium bisulfite. Okay, clear? Now the second type of salt is called as a normal salt. Now normal salt, if you can see here, this is normal salt. Okay, now normal salt is formed by the complete replacement. Yes, now you know what complete replacement means. Yes, so normal salt is the one which is formed by the complete replacement of the replaceable hydrogen ions of an acid by a basic radical, which is either metallic ion or ammonium ion. Okay, so this becomes a normal salt. Now it will be formed when you are taking the alkali in sufficient quantity or in excess. That will be our second point. Now it does not contain any replaceable hydrogen. Just see the comparison here. So it will not contain any replaceable hydrogen atoms in it. So it will not show any properties of the acid. Clear? So comparison of acid salt and normal salt. Yes, that is difference between acid salt and normal salt with respect to the definition, with respect to how it is formed, with respect to the hydrogen atom and with respect to the properties which it displays. Total 4 points are there, very very important. Okay, we will see this later in the question answers. Okay, so examples of normal salts are what? Sodium sulfate, sodium carbonate, sodium sulfite. Corresponding acid salts only I have written up. Okay, so it becomes easier for you to understand. Okay, clear? Now the third type of salt is called as a basic salt. Now a basic salt is formed by the partial replacement of the hydroxyl ions of a diacidic or triacidic base. Now if you remember, when we discussed bases, we classified bases based on their acidity also. So depending upon the number of hydroxyl ions, yes, the base was classified as a diacidic or a triacidic base. So now if you need partial replacement, minimum it has to be a diacidic base. So partial replacement of the hydroxyl ions of the base with the anion of the acid. Now just try to understand. So basic salt will have a metal in it, one hydroxyl ion, and the other hydroxyl ion is replaced by the anion of the acid. So this anion has come from the acid, that is the nitric acid. Okay. So you react copper hydroxide, CuOH whole twice, with the nitric acid and then you will get this basic salt. Okay, so the components of a basic salt are a metal ion, a hydroxyl ion and the anion of the acid. Okay, clear? So this becomes basic copper nitrate and this is basic copper chloride. Basic copper chloride will be, it is having a metal ion, then a hydroxyl ion and anion of the acid. So this has come from hydrochloric acid. Okay, so this is a basic salt. Now apart from this, there are complex salts, then double salt and mixed salt, which is not in syllabus. Okay, so they will be mentioned in your textbook but it is not in syllabus. Only thing, complex salts you should know, because throughout the syllabus somewhere a mention of complex salts is there. Like if you remember in analytical chemistry, tetramine copper 2 sulfate or tetramine zinc sulfate, all these are complex salts. So you should just know examples of complex salts. Whereas here in classification of salts, only these three are in the syllabus: acid salt, normal salt and basic salt. Okay, is it clear? Now coming to the methods of the preparation of salts. Now there are total 6 methods. Now first we will try to understand the method, and later in the next session we will see the in the next slide we will see the equations related to this. Okay. So first is direct combination. Now you all are aware of what is a direct combination reaction. We have done this in 9th standard. So a direct combination, when two or more substances, they will react to form a single compound. Okay, that is a direct combination. And when you use metals, or rather when you use an element, yes, when you use elements in direct combination, it becomes a synthesis reaction. So generally you use a metal and a non-metal to form a salt. So all these salts, ferric chloride, aluminum chloride, zinc sulfide, lead sulfide, okay, all these are prepared by this method, that is direct combination. Okay, clear? Then second is a displacement method. Displacement method is similar to our displacement reaction which we have done. Okay, so all the active metals above hydrogen, yes, all active metals above hydrogen in the activity series, when you react them with dilute acids, yes, you will form the corresponding salt with the liberation of hydrogen. So that is a displacement reaction. So it is used for these all binary salts, that is ferrous chloride, ferrous sulfate, etc. Okay, even zinc chloride, zinc sulfate can be added here. Okay. Now third is a neutralization. Now neutralization, that is the titration involved. Now to understand this titration involved, I would like you to have a look at the diagram which I will show you. Okay, now the third method which I was saying, that is neutralization, that is titration involved. So this is neutralization of a alkali, that is a soluble base. Now just understand what a titration is. Now for a titration, you use this glass apparatus. This is called as a burette. Now in this burette you are going to take your dilute acid. Now here we have taken dilute sulfuric acid, and in the conical flask we have taken our base, that is sodium hydroxide, which is a soluble base. It's an alkali in short. So to that sodium hydroxide, now we are adding a few drops of phenolphthalein. Now you know the color of phenolphthalein in alkaline medium, it is pink. So this solution will be light pink in color. You just have to add a drop or two of phenolphthalein. Now when you start the titration, titration means what? You are going to try to neutralize the alkali by the acid. So you will go on adding the dilute sulfuric acid into this conical flask here. Yes. So till this the pink color will just disappear. Now you won't know exact when it disappears. So for that, after adding say 4-5 ml, you have to go on adding this drop wise. Yes, so that you are able to record the end point. End point means the point at which the pink color just disappears. Means when it just disappears, at that point the acid has completely neutralized the alkali and the salt sodium sulfate has been formed. So that is your end point. Okay. So this particular neutralization of a alkali is called as a titration method. So this particular method is used for all your soluble salts of sodium, potassium and ammonium. Okay. So this is the titration method. Now we'll get back to our other methods. Okay, so third method we discussed, neutralization of an alkali, that is titration involved. It is used for all soluble salts like NaCl, NH4Cl, Na2SO, etc. Then now fourth method is neutralization. This is also neutralization, but now of a insoluble base. Now insoluble bases like say copper oxide, lead oxide, copper hydroxide, lead hydroxide. We have seen all these examples in our last session. Okay. So neutralization of an insoluble base. So again it will give salt and water. So it is used for all these salts: copper sulfate, lead sulfate, copper nitrate, etc. Okay. Then next method is decomposition of carbonates and bicarbonates by dilute acid. Now carbonates and bicarbonates, like say sodium carbonate, sodium bicarbonate, when you react them with dilute acids like HCl, H2SO4, yes, you are going to get the corresponding salt, water with the liberation of carbon dioxide gas. So if you remember this particular reaction we have done in HCl also, yes, in the HCl chapter, yes, that is the reaction of in dilute acids. And the last is the precipitation method. Now precipitation is a type of double decomposition reaction. If you remember in 9th standard we have done this. So double decomposition, that is precipitation involved. So in this you are going to use, there is mutual exchange of the positive and negative radicals to form two compounds. So one method is you are using soluble salts. So you will use two soluble salts as the reactants, and you are going to get a third soluble salt and a fourth insoluble salt, which is a precipitated salt when you are using soluble salts. And second method under this only, you are using insoluble salt. Means from one insoluble salt you have to obtain another insoluble salt. Like say you have to obtain say PbCl2, which is insoluble, and you are using PbO, which is also insoluble. So how you will do that, that we'll see in the reactions later. Okay, so now we'll have a look at the next part. Okay, now just have a look here. Now all these are the questions related to what I have already discussed, that is the salt, definition of a salt and types of salts. So first question is, define a salt giving balanced chemical equations to support your answer. So the answer is, a salt is a compound formed by partial or complete replacement of the replaceable, that is ionizable, hydrogen ion of an acid by a metallic ion or ammonium ion, in bracket basic radical. Okay. So this is the example, NaOH plus H2SO4 will give NaHSO4 plus H2O, partial replacement. 2 NaOH plus H2SO4 will give you Na2SO4 plus 2H2O, complete replacement. Okay. Or the other definition, just you should know, but in exam if it is asked, you have to write this first part only. Salt is an ionic compound which dissociates to yield a positive ion other than hydrogen ion and a negative ion other than hydroxyl ion. Okay. So NaCl in aqueous solution will give Na1 plus plus Cl1 minus. This I had explained you in the just few minutes back. Now next question, give 5 stars to this, very important. Compare an acid salt and a normal salt. So acid salt is formed by the partial replacement of the replaceable hydrogen ion of an acid molecule by a basic radical, which could be either a metal or an ammonium ion. Okay. And a normal salt is formed by the complete replacement of the replaceable hydrogen ion of an acid molecule by a basic radical, which is metallic or ammonium ion. And one equation, so NaOH in insufficient quantity plus H2SO4 will give you NaHSO4 plus H2O, this is the acid salt. 2 NaOH in excess plus H2SO4 will give you Na2SO4 plus 2H2O. So this is our normal salt. Okay. Second point, it is formed when base taken is insufficient for complete neutralization of the acid. It is formed when the base taken is sufficient or in excess for the complete neutralization of the acid. Okay. We will have a look at the next part now. Okay, the third point, containing with the differences. Acid salt contains a replaceable hydrogen atom in its molecule. Normal salt does not contain any replaceable hydrogen atom in its molecule. This acid salt exhibits all properties of an acid in solution, does not exhibit properties of an acid in solution. Okay. So these were the differences between an acid salt and a normal salt, very important. Now next, question 3 is, explain the term basic salt. So a basic salt is formed by the partial replacement of the hydroxyl radicals of a diacidic or triacidic base with an acid radical. It contains a cation, that is the metallic ion, hydroxyl ion of a base and an anion of an acid. So basic copper nitrate CuOH NO3 and basic copper chloride CuOHCl. Okay. Now this give 2 examples each for acid salts and normal salts. So acid salts are sodium bisulfate, sodium bicarbonate, sodium bisulfite, and we have written the corresponding normal salts only. So sodium sulfate, sodium carbonate and sodium sulfite. Okay, just see the comparison, so it becomes easier for you to remember. So we'll have a look at the next part now. Okay, now what I had just explained to you about the different methods for preparation of salts. So now here we'll see all those methods along with the equations. First was direct combination. So this what I have written in green is the general reaction. Okay, so metal plus non-metal will give you a salt. Now by this method you can get either soluble or insoluble salts. So this is used for soluble and insoluble binary salts such as all these ferric chloride ZnS. So these are the equations. 2Fe plus 3Cl2 gives 2FeCl3. This is soluble. 2Al plus 3Cl2 gives 2AlCl3. This is also soluble. Fe plus S gives FeS, that is iron sulfide, insoluble. Zn plus S gives zinc sulfide, again insoluble. Pb plus S gives PbS, again insoluble. Okay. Now this entire topic of the salts, yes, is very, very important. Questions based on the salts is always asked in the boards, especially the methods also. Okay, so you have to learn this properly. Now second method is displacement. So active metal plus dilute acid will give you soluble salt plus hydrogen. So this is used for the soluble salts of active metals like Al, Mg, Zn and Fe. So the equations Fe plus H2SO4 will give FeSO4 plus H2. Fe plus 2HCl will give you FeCl2 plus H2. Zn plus H2SO4 will give you ZnSO4 plus H2. Mg plus 2HCl will give you MgCl2 plus H2. Okay. Now third method, neutralization of an alkali. This is that burette one, yes, titration method. So soluble base, that is alkali plus acid dilute, will give the soluble salt plus water. Now this is used for all soluble salts of potassium, sodium and ammonium. Okay. So NaOH plus HCl will give NaCl plus H2O, NaOH plus HNO3, NaNO3 plus H2O, NH4OH plus HCl, NH4Cl plus H2O, and 2 NH4OH plus H2SO4 will give you NH4 twice SO4 plus 2H2. Okay. So we'll have a look at the next part now. Now coming to the fourth method, that is neutralization of an insoluble base. Yes, now insoluble base plus the dilute acid will give you a soluble salt plus water. Now this is used for all soluble salts like copper sulfate, zinc sulfate, copper nitrate and lead nitrate. Now the base can either be an oxide or hydroxide. If you remember, we had done this in the base part. So using insoluble oxide like copper oxide plus H2SO4, copper sulfate and water, PbO plus 2HNO3 will give you PbNO3 twice plus H2O. Okay. And if you use an insoluble hydroxide, copper hydroxide plus H2SO4 will give you copper sulfate and 2 water, PbOH whole twice plus 2HNO3 will give you PbNO3 twice plus 2H2. Okay. Now the next method is action of dilute acids on carbonates and bicarbonates. Okay. So carbonate or bicarbonate plus the dilute acid will give you salt, water and CO2. Now this is again used for all soluble salts. Yes. Now you should remember that by this method you can prepare all the salts of method 3 and 4 both. Okay. So PbCO3 plus 2HNO3 will give you PbNO3 twice plus H2O plus CO2. Then ZnCO3 plus 2HNO3, ZnNO3 twice plus H2O plus CO2. CuCO3 plus H2SO4 will give you CuSO4 plus H2O plus CO2. CuCO3 plus 2HCl, CuCl2 plus H2O plus CO2. Na2CO3 plus H2SO4 will give you Na2SO4 plus H2O plus CO2. NH4 twice CO3, ammonium carbonate plus 2HCl will give you 2 NH4Cl plus H2O plus CO2. And 2 KHCO3 plus H2SO4 will give you K2SO4 plus 2H2O plus 2CO2. That's a lot of reactions. So we'll have a look at the next part now. Okay, now coming to the last method of preparation, that is precipitation, double decomposition. In that we had discussed two methods. One is using soluble salts. So as I explained to you, so this is soluble salt 1, soluble salt 2. This will give you the precipitated insoluble salt and a third soluble salt. Okay. Now this particular method is used to prepare all insoluble salts like PbCl2, PbSO4, CaCO3 and ZnCO3. So just see this, PbNO3 whole twice plus 2 NaCl will give you PbCl2 plus 2 NaNO3. So this is our insoluble salt. Okay, downward arrow indicates a precipitate. CaCl2 plus Na2CO3, CaCO3 plus 2 NaCl. ZnSO4 plus ammonium carbonate will give ZnCO3 plus ammonium sulfate. Zinc nitrate plus Na2CO3, zinc carbonate plus sodium nitrate, and lead nitrate plus sodium sulfate will give you lead sulfate plus 2NaNO3. Okay, so all these are the insoluble salts, and we are preparing them from other soluble salts. These are all soluble salts. Now the same method you can use, that if you start from an insoluble salt. So under the precipitation only, when you are using insoluble salts. So the question will be given like this, that prepare lead chloride from insoluble lead oxide. So now just understand there are two steps to this. Now you have to first convert this insoluble salt to a soluble salt, yes, using nitric acid, dilute nitric acid, because all nitrates are soluble. Now if you directly use the acid here, this being insoluble, the yield will be highly affected. So first step is convert the insoluble PbO to a soluble salt, that is lead nitrate, using dilute nitric acid. Okay. So PbO plus 2HNO3 will give you PbNO3 whole twice plus H2O. Now next step, you are going to react this soluble lead nitrate using the sodium chloride. Now we want PbCl2, so you use a soluble chloride salt. Soluble chloride salt is sodium chloride. See, sodium and potassium are the safest to use. They are always soluble. So step 2, react the soluble lead nitrate with sodium chloride to give lead chloride. So PbNO3 whole twice plus 2NaCl will give you PbCl2 plus 2NaNO3. Okay, clear? So now this is similar to the first part, soluble salt 1 plus soluble salt 2, giving you the precipitated salt plus another salt. Okay, clear? This is very important. Questions on this are asked every year. Then now on the similar lines, I have formed a question here. Prepare lead sulfate using insoluble lead carbonate. So again step 1 will be convert lead carbonate to soluble salt lead nitrate using dilute nitric acid, and the equation PbCO3 plus 2HNO3 giving PbNO3 twice plus H2O plus CO2. Okay, so we will have the look at the next part. So continuing with that question, step 2 will be now we will react the soluble lead nitrate with sodium sulfate to give lead sulfate. Okay, so PbNO3 whole twice plus Na2SO4 will give you 2NaNO3 plus PbSO4. Okay, this is the precipitated salt. Okay, clear? Now this is how the question will be asked. So it is written in this manner: give the steps involved in the preparation of lead to chloride from lead to carbonate. Give balance equations to support your answer. Okay. So step 1 will be convert insoluble lead carbonate to a soluble salt lead nitrate using dilute nitric acid. So we are writing this equation: PbCO3 plus 2HNO3 will give you PbNO3 whole twice plus H2O plus CO2. And step 2 will be react the soluble lead nitrate with sodium chloride to give lead 2 chloride. So PbNO3 whole twice plus 2NaCl will give you 2NaNO3 plus PbCl2. Okay, is it clear? So with that we complete this topic of the preparation of the salts, yes, and also the topic of acid, bases and salts. So we have completed this chapter of acids, bases and salts. So it was divided into 3 parts. Today we have completed the salt portion of the chapter. So now board questions are already solved in the PDF which will be uploaded shortly. So you will go through the board questions, and if you have any doubts you will ask them, right? Now just brief regarding your test. Your chemistry test is on 31st, yes, that is next Sunday. So the portion for the test you already know, it's 4 chapters: periodic table, chemical bonding, electrolysis and metallurgy. So it will be 10 marks each, and what you have to study from the PDF, that is in the periodic table you have to know all the definition of all the periodic properties, yes, and the gradation of the periodic properties, what happens to them across a period and down the group, and the reasons for that. So all those reasons which I made you write in the notebook or which I have given for homework, that you should know, and the first 20 elements of the periodic table you should know, and the first, second and the 17th and 18th group. Okay, that is in periodic table. Then in chemical bonding you will have to study the board questions from the PDF, and rest notes will be from the video sessions only, because nothing was there in the PDF, only the board questions are there. So you should know how to draw the electron dot diagrams for the ionic and the covalent compounds, and the give reasons which I have discussed. Okay, that is in chemical bonding. Then in electrolysis, I have given you homework regarding to all the definitions, then those 3 different electrolysis of lead bromide, then of water, all questions related to that, so that you should know. Then definitions of electroplating, what you will use for plating of nickel and silver, all those aspects you have to learn from the PDF. Okay, and in metallurgy, the processes, yes, which are steps involved in the extraction of the metal, and definitions, all those definitions of mineral, ore. Okay, so all that, and extraction of aluminum is very, very important. So the Beer's process and Hall-Héroult's process, all those give reasons and questions related to that, whatever I have given in form of question answers during the regular sessions, you have to go through. Okay, and also we'll have a revision lecture like how we had for bio just before the test. Okay, so happy studying, stay safe and healthy in the house. Thank you.